I just
Oh,
think
I know it is. I know it's fantastic story. I just not for me. Plus zombies. I don't do them. I
You
don't
don't
do
touch
them.
the zombies.
they're not zombies.
Oh my fucking god! They're
They
zombies.
kind of are,
Shut the fuck
John.
up.
No, they're not.
I know
They're
they're
fungus.
technically not zombies, but come on, they're zombies. Like,
They're cordyceps corpse.
Uh-huh.
John, I will cordyceps your asshole. Shut the fuck
Oh
up.
my god.
What does that mean?
I will cordyceps your asshole. Hello everyone and welcome to Anime Club After Dark, the podcast that delves into all things anime, manga, and otaku culture related. I'm your host Alex, but you can call me Senpai. John, fuck you. Fuck you, John. Fuck our source material, John, who's with us. Stop. I think you think it's funny. Wait till I'm not here. Oh wait, you know that's like when I'm not here. You just do it. We have our own 10% hero, Chinoda.
Hey yo.
And tonight,
hero mean?
huh?
What is that supposed to mean?
He said 10%.
Don't worry about it.
I didn't want to say just 10%. I just put 10% hero because, like, he's a hero. I mean, he's not. He's more like a fucking villain on this podcast, but
I know.
What the beard is for,
Continually
so I
late.
can do
that's
this.
that's why he's got the
recordings.
beard. The beard means he's evil. Wait a minute. What
Look,
does that mean
John,
for me?
I already told you the sleep mode didn't turn off. I overslept a lot.
Actually, John, he's got a lot of hallmarks of a Hollywood villain: dark skin, beard.
Oh my god.
Wow,
Tall.
Wow.
I'm just saying, for years this was the Hollywood archetype for a villain. But speaking of heroes and villains, we're doing something kind of special for this. Tonight we're going to be talking about Mob Psycho 100 Season 1. We're doing a spoilercast for it, so, if you haven't watched it yet, fair warning, we are going to get into spoilers tonight. This is also going to be part of a 3-part series where we talk about each of the 3 seasons of Mob Psycho 100. Now that the anime is over, we thought this would be a good time to delve into the entire series. For me, it's my first journey through the series at all. I know both of you have been watching it for a couple of years now.
Watched it as it was airing. Yep.
But for me, this is entirely new. So I guess let's get into it. This is obviously all 3 seasons were produced by Studio Bones, based on a manga, unfortunately, by one who I know this is going to be.
Unfortunately,
this is going to be a hot take. This is going to be a hot
shade.
take. It's going to be a hot take from me, but I feel like it needs to be said. You might like his stories, but one can't draw for shit.
Oh,
You
no,
got do art.
I'll absolutely agree with that. If that's what your hot take, that's not even a hot take. That's commonly agreed upon.
Also, that maybe this is a hot take too. The manga behind Tokyo Revengers can't draw for shit either.
Oh fuck!
I actually don't know what that looks like, so I can't say anything.
To see the anime does it a great service. Let me just put it that way.
All right then.
So this the entire series, all 3 seasons, was directed by Yuzu Takiwacha. Let me try that again. Yuzuru Jesus Christ, Alex.
Tachikawa.
Tachikawa. Yuzuru Tachikawa. See, I can do it. This is the same guy who directed both Death Billiards and Death Parade. Also, more recently directed Decadence. Which is
Decadence, more like a double-decker piece of shit.
Fuck you. That was great.
It looked good.
No,
it looked good.
We'll go into this in a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, well, it's
okay?
The scripts, however, were written by someone whose name should be very familiar to you, especially if you recently watched our Chainsaw Man Spoilercast. The scripts for this anime adaptation of the manga were written by Hiroshi Seko, who is also the screenwriter behind the adaptations of Attack on Titan, Vinland Saga, Jujutsu Kaisen, Summertime Rendering, and yes, Chainsaw Man. So, holy
Man
shit.
has a successful track record, and it shows.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to just put the I don't know, the cherry,
on top.
On top, Bones just went out and hired, I guess, some top tier talent for this when they got Kenji Kawai to come on and do the musical score. That name should be familiar to you if you've ever seen Ghost in the Shell, Eden of the East, Barakamon, which I know you love a lot, John.
I fucking love Barakamon.
And something I love a lot, Makia, When the Promised Flower Blooms. No wonder the music is so good.
I did not know anyone who... I didn't look up anything for like directing or screenplay or music because I was just like, oh, I just like watching it. But that's crazy how much talent there is behind this show. And that, I guess that makes sense, though, because I ended up loving Mob Psycho like quite a lot. But I want to talk about all 3 seasons right now. But since we're doing it season by season... Let me just get this out of the way and say season 1's probably the weakest season I've ever seen in my life.
100.
It's like,
I mean, maybe not the weakest.
Well, when I
not
was
the
talking about
weakest,
doing
but,
this,
like-
when I was talking about doing this, both Shinoda and Nataya told me, "Listen, season 1 is a little weak, but trust me, there's kernels there that pay off later."
yeah, because like I think that the first 8 episodes of season 1 of Mob Psycho 100 are weak as shit. Like So I didn't know anything about Mob Psycho.
100% until what, episode 5?
Yeah, and even then it was just like whatever. Like it's just because so Mob Psycho comes out after One Punch Man, and prior to
Mob
this,
Psycho
I didn't
100.
know anything.
Mob Psycho 100. The first season at least is in 2016, summer of 2016, and One Punch Man was fall of 2015.
Yeah, so I didn't know anything about 1. All I knew about 1 was One Punch Man. So going into Mob Psycho 100, I was also one of the like, oh, is this just like One Punch Man but psychic? So I was extremely disappointed when you go to watch it and you're just like, oh, he doesn't just like one punch things with his psychic mind. It's like there's build up, and I'm just like, I don't care about any of this. And when he finally goes 100%, right? Because so the main character Mob, he has to fill up his rage meter, right? His feelings meter. When it goes up to 100% of like emotions, he loses control of his emotions, and he just like goes 100% ham.
Someone when I was watching, because I've been doing watch parties for Mob Psycho 100, and I'll probably continue to do them for both season 2 and 3 in our Discord server, which you should join down below. That's a good plug right there, boys. Someone like just randomly said, "No, it's his incel meter."
Bruh, no.
When it fills up, he has to slap somebody.
No, my boy Mob is not.
Bro, but like I will say I love the music in Mob Psycho, like in the first season, because it's just very fitting. Like I love the first, I think it's like the first 5 minutes of the first episode, where like you just get thrown into this like this super powered like telekinesis motherfucker is just fighting these crazy ass looking monsters and making them explode, and just like effects are happening. You're just like, what the fuck's happening? And then those fucking kazoos are going off like beep, beep, you're like, yo, this is actually kind of cool. So that's where I got suckered in. I was like, oh, is it like One Punch Man? Like the first sequence where Saitama fights the dudes? It's like, nah. Then after that, you're just like, just boring regular slice of life stuff. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, that is weird. Like
bro.
the intro bit to the series is very action. Like it makes you think like you're gonna watch action-packed shonen, and then you watch 5 episodes in a row of someone doing slice of life shit.
Yeah. And it's like, it's really weird. I mean, it makes sense to me now after watching all of it. And I'm like, okay, you know what? That makes sense. But I got to say, the first season is definitely the weakest. And the first 8 episodes are boring as shit. I honestly...
There is some good stuff in there. And there's some really good jokes.
I mean, it's funny. There's a lot of slapstick humor involved in typical One fashion. There's always like funny, like I loved Reagan's character.
Yeah.
Reagan was fucking hilarious.
Man, can we talk about? I want to talk about
character.
Reagan for just a second, because this man is a con man who give Kaiki Deshu a run for his fucking money.
I just love that every time he does it was one of his secret hidden special moves.
The narrator does this is his secret move.
Yeah, and it has like this splash card and it looks like a super skill effect, and it's just something mundane like,
and it's really well drawn too.
Massage technique. And I'm like, what?
Fucking love it. But he's good at it too, and it pays off, and it's like, what the fuck, that worked?
I know. It's just it's got little moments in it here and there where it makes you keep watching. But it definitely is a 180, because again, coming into this, you think it's gonna be like One Punch Man. It's not. kind of. It's got bits and pieces of One Punch Man here and there spread throughout because I guess
Some of the action is a little One Punch Man-esque.
Oh yeah, I think the action sequences are fucking amazing, but there's just few and far between them. Like
in the first season, at least, yeah.
In the first season, like it takes 5 episodes for him to fill up his 100% meter. So that first 5-minute sequence where you see him fighting, you don't get to see that again for like 5 episodes, which is a long time.
Yeah,
because it's supposed to be a shonen, so most of the time shonen draw you in with like every 2 or 3 episodes there's going to be a fight sequence.
Yeah.
At
and
least
then usually at the end of the season, there's a big fight.
Yeah, it's like the stereotypical storytelling or structure of a shonen, and that's one thing that Mob Psycho doesn't do. It's not a stereotypical shonen, but it's still really good because I promise you, season 2 and 3 are way better.
I will say this, John. You say the first like 6 or 7 episodes are boring. I'd argue and say they're actually very important. They might not be, super action packed and all that, but they're
it's very
important for Mob's character.
It's very important because Mob Psycho 100 is a shonen, but it's about the growth of the character, about the main character, and showing his mundane life and how he deals and like how he feels like he doesn't belong and stuff in this world. It's actually extremely important to his character growth, and it makes sense in the grand scheme of things. But viewing it as just I'm only gonna watch season 1, like it doesn't make me want to watch season 2. Like after finishing season 1, I was just kind of like, yeah, that was okay. Like if I didn't continue watching it just because I had nothing to watch for season 2 and then season 3, and I was already hooked at that point once I got to season 2, I wouldn't care. And that's kind of the problem. If you're watching Mob Psycho and you just watch the first season and you don't know anything about it, most people would probably just drop it after the first season without other people telling you to like give it a shot. Make sure you watch season 2 and 3.
I told this to Chinoda a couple of days ago when I was talking to him and Ty after I had finished watching season 1. Bear with me because this isn't going to make a whole lot of sense, but I got the same feeling after watching the first season of Mob Psycho 100 that I did when I watched the first season of Snafu. I know those are 2 completely different kinds of anime, but I felt like this is okay. But I feel like if I keep going with this, there's going to be some really good stuff just around the corner.
Yeah. Yep. Like, there's definitely a lot of breadcrumbing in Mob Psycho, the first season of Mob Psycho.
There's a lot of stuff that just happens and they don't even bother to explain it. There's 2 women that one of them has a pepper for a head, the other one has a broccoli for a head, and they show up twice, and the anime's just like, we're not going to acknowledge this, we're not going to explain it, you're gonna take those pepper, that pepper and that broccoli, and you're gonna like it.
I mean, you gotta understand, they go to is it Salt Middle School? Is that their school?
Salt Middle, and it's Salt Seasoning City, which I also I laughed out loud the first time I heard that. By the way,
there's a running gag here. Come on, they had to go and fight at Black Vinegar's middle school.
Yeah, and there's like
I love that it was
curry powder middle and
yeah. I liked that the theming was like that because it's just funny to me.
It's consistent too, which is even better.
Yeah, there's a bunch of anime that do that. Like I think it was Demon Lord Retry or Demon Lord something. What the fuck was it? Oh my god.
I don't know. Which of the 50 million isekai that you watched?
It's an isekai. It's about a demon lord guy, and their cities are named after like Amazon, Google, and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the name. I know what you're talking about though.
Well, it's like when I'm watching Trigun Stampede, the Trigun remake right now, and I forget that
July.
All of the cities have very Western names.
Yeah, like July City.
July's, yeah. But I thought it was kind of funny when I first realized, because you hear the name Salt Middle School at first, and you think, well, maybe that's just like a English version or something. Maybe they're just trying to say something weird in Japanese, like maybe there's a word in Japanese, saruto, or so, I don't know, whatever, and it just comes off as salt.
No, it's called Shio Middle School. Salt.
Yeah.
Or no, Shio? Yeah, that's Salt, right?
Yeah. But then you hear another one called Black Vinegar, and then they say Seasoning City. I'm like, touche. Touche.
Yeah. I mean, like, with the set dressing and the city and stuff, it doesn't really feel like a city that you live in, because it's kind of, you just follow around Mob in his regular life.
Yeah.
And that's one of the like. There's a lot of weak points to Mob Psycho season 1, and I think that there's not a lot of world building involved in it. Like we just know that, all right, apparently this is a city that deals with ghosts, and apparently ghosts are very common because everyone sees them and everyone talks about them. But then like it's not that big of a business because there's not like a Ghostbusters thing other than Reagan's company, and apparently his is the cheapest around,
which is a con.
Yeah, I love the part where Mob was like, Reagan Sensei, I need to talk to you about something, and then he's like, oh no, did he figure it out that I'm a con man, that I don't actually have superpowers?
All of season 1, he's just constantly like, fuck, did he find out? It's hilarious.
Like honestly, Reagan saved season 1 because like I loved like when he has the salt. He's like, salt surprise punch,
and then the ghost is like, this is just table salt. It's not sanctified.
It's not even it's not even purified. It's literally
like,
just table salt.
I could have sworn salt is supposed to work. Like Reagan.
Even I, as someone who doesn't believe in paranormal shit, knows that for ghosts you're supposed to sanctify the salt.
See, I didn't know that. It makes sense.
But yeah, Reagan is great. He's definitely my favorite character in season 1. Followed very closely by Dimple.
Ekubo, yeah.
I love Dimple.
Ekubo is next fucking level.
He's the kind of antagonist who, when you first meet him, he's obviously revels in being completely evil, like that old school like mustache twirling villain trope.
Yep.
Yeah. And then he gets
Ekubo to a T.
And then he gets beaten by Mob. And then he
the snot beat out of him.
Becomes like a little tiny ghost whipped cream thing that
Dimple.
follows him around. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just like a little cute mascot character, and God, it was so funny. Like when he beats the Smiling Cold and Dimple gets basically exercised, when he reappears in front of Mob's what is his actual name? Shigeo.
Shigeo.
I keep calling him Mob because that's what his nickname is. But
is it ever explained in season 1 at least how he got the nickname Mob?
No, I don't think they do explain.
I don't think they ever went into it.
No, they didn't.
No,
It's another thing. The anime, at least in the first season, just either hand waves a bunch of stuff or is like doesn't even acknowledge it.
I mean, they'll talk about it later.
I have a feeling they will.
The funniest part was when he beats Dimple, and then Dimple reappears at his bed. It's like, yo, good morning, Shigeo. What are we doing today? He's like, he grabs him and just starts beating him. He's like, stop, Mom, stop, please, please, Shigeo. I'm not here to hurt you. He's like, oh, I just thought this might be a dream. He's like, wouldn't you normally pinch your own cheeks? He's like, oh yeah.
Like, why is your first goddamn choice to beat the shit out of your dream? Holy shit, Mom.
Yeah, like I love the comedy bits so much, but it's crazy because on top of the comedy bits, like underlying, there's a really good story here that wants to be told, and I just wish I could see more of it in season 1.
See,
like that was my biggest complaint because I think the comedy was great, but there was so much more underlying story. Like when like his younger brother has an interesting story about like, I wish I could have superpowers and psychic powers, but I don't. And I live in constant fear that my brother's going to go berserk and fucking destroy everything. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's a pretty cool story beat. Like, holy shit, that's a pretty great one. And when they follow him around,
come into fruition during the anime. He actually gets
it's good. And that's why I like the last 4 episodes, or I guess it's the last 6 episodes because it happens in episode 6, right? Where his brother starts.
That's where they like mistake him for Mob.
Yeah.
And he gets kidnapped.
Yeah. So that's like where it starts. So
I like that fight where they like corner him in the alleyway, and it's like all the different middle schoolers, and they're like, "Bitch, we know all about you," and he's like, "Huh? Me?" No. So you say that about the comedy, and I disagree. I think if this story took itself more seriously, I wouldn't enjoy it as much. I like the fact that it doesn't take itself overly serious.
Okay, I don't think it needs to take itself more seriously. I'm just saying I wish I saw more of the story.
You wish you saw more of the character development.
Well, there is a lot of character development for Mob.
There's also a lot for his brother.
6 that Ritsu starts awakening his latent abilities.
Yeah, so it's episode 6 where it starts to actually get interesting.
I don't know. I just
Like prior to that,
like
it's just like the Oh my god, I don't know the guy's name. I don't remember it. The blonde dude, the other psychic guy.
Teru.
Teru?
Teru. Oh, wasn't it Teru? It's
All I know is it's the guy who does
Teru.
Kirito.
Teru.
Yeah, Teru.
Okay, yeah. So Teru. So the fight with Teru was fucking hilarious. I love that.
I love
And
the
every
fucking
time-
wig that he comes back with. That's really tall.
the super long wig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he gets his
He's
head shaved off,
compensating.
And then,
so
and then,
hard.
no, he and Mob are gonna fight again, and then a gust of wind comes by, and he grabs the wig, and he's like, "We'll finish this later."
Yeah.
Now's not the time.
I love that Teru. Every time I hear that guy, the voice actor for Teru, I'm just like, this is Kirito. It's fucking Kirito.
Yeah,
He also does what's that guy from who does he play in ReZero?
Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice
Beetlejuice.
Romani Conti. Yes!
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so every time I this is what happens when you get typecasted.
He's also Inosuke in Kimetsu no Yaiba, Demon Slayer.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But I completely skipped over the OP and the ED.
Yeah, I
because-
mean, let's talk about it. The OP 99 by Mob Choir is a bop.
It's a
They're great.
fucking
It's a
god
great-
tier bop, yo.
the animation in the opening sequence is fucking amazing. I love
Yeah.
it. You get to see so much. There's a lot that it tells you, but
There's literally a whole story in there that you have to pay attention to, and like you gotta pause it frequently if you want to understand, because you gotta like pause, think about what you just saw, and then go back to it. And there's a lot, like the amount of foreshadowing in this that doesn't come into fruition until season 2 and 3 also. Like I just rewatched it right before we started recording, and I was just like, yo, holy shit.
yeah.
The first
Like,
time I
it seems like it's
watched it, it
random.
was like I'm like this is all right. This is all right. And then like 3 episodes in, I'm just
Yeah, I think the song is really good just because I love the whole counting. And then like counting Japanese singing, and then like the mob, what do you want? Mob. Just like, yeah.
It builds the hype.
It
builds
does.
the hype
It's a hype
so
song.
quickly.
It's what it is. It's a hype song.
It really is, and it works. Shit, these two just saw me get
Yeah.
hyped the fuck up.
We were
Oh,
sitting
God,
here
John's
watching
gonna
him rewatch the OP, and he's just sitting there just bobbing his head back and forth.
Now, I personally like the ED more than I like the OP though. Because
It's a good ED.
the,
It's a really good ED.
Yeah, so Refrain
It is a
Boy
good
by
ED.
All Off. I really like it. Like I think the graphics obviously in the ED are not that great because it's just like charcoal drawing
Yeah.
and it's just like slightly animated frame by frame. But I just think the song is really good because it just makes me feel like I'm watching a shonen.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those. It's a shonen song. Like if they swapped this to the OP instead of the ED, I would have been like, yeah, this is 100% just a stereotypical shonen now.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. It's just it doesn't get my head bopping like 99 does though. I don't know.
99 is very catchy.
It is. It's kind of almost an earworm. Certainly not as much as an earworm as Cheeky Cheeky Bomb Bomb, but I will never
It's
forgive
pretty
Natai for
fucking
getting that
close.
song stuck in my fucking head forever. So one thing I definitely want to talk about is the character designs. Obviously, in the anime they're based on character designs originally created by one, and
one does not have good art.
no,
He does not.
I will
Man
say this
can't.
man is obsessed with chin balls, though. Holy shit!
Yeah.
There are I
That's
counted
hilarious.
during our watch party. I counted 7 characters that show up with chin balls.
I think it's in the very first episode, right, where it's like, "Oh my god, did you see that ghost?" And then they look at it, it's just a dude with the ball chin.
Yeah.
It's like it's the ball chin goblin ghost.
And every time I see that now, there's only one thing I think about. It's the rent is too damn high guy. It's the only thing I think about.
So one thing that you need to understand about one's humor is that a lot of it is kind of like kid humor.
Pee pee
Is a-
poo poo humor.
Yeah,
Actually,
it's
yeah.
like elementary school kid humor. Like it's obviously it's different when you live in like in Asia. They have different type of humor and stuff compared to like here in the West. But it's akin to like doing that. Like I don't know if you guys ever played did you guys ever play Corn Dog? Do you know what that is?
Nope.
I've played cornhole.
Okay, so corn dog is when you go up behind one of your friends, typically guys, and then you pretend that you have a boner, and you put your hand in your pants, like your fingers in your pants, and then you poke them in the butt, and you'd be like, "Corn
So
dog."
is it like 1,000 Years of Death?
Yeah, kind of. So that's something that I remember. I don't. Again, maybe I'm weird, and it's just my middle school that did that. But we played corn dog with each other all the time. But it's like that type of humor, like it's just weird, just potty poo poo humor. And
Does your girlfriend know about this, John?
no,
Do you want to talk about your latent homosexuality right now, John?
Well, listen, that's a lot to get into right now, Alex.
I know, like me, you have seen Markiplier's OnlyFans.
Oh, I have.
Yeah, I mean the humor in that, and there's definitely a lot of the humor that comes through with the character designs. I get it. It's just, man, some of them are a little difficult to take. Like in the later episodes when they're doing like the whole prison break thing, there's a dude that comes to the cell and his head is shaped like a gourd, like a fucking gourd.
Legit like a gourd, yeah.
Yeah.
There's like, so what is this shit? Like, and they got Minecraft Steve. Minecraft Steve makes an appearance in this.
Oh yeah. The freaking twins, the psychic twins.
Yeah. That also bugged me. Like, there's the scene where one of Minecraft Steve gets taken off, and you think he gets fucking executed, right? Off screen, because they bring him back and his body's all like mangled and bloody and shit. And then they just retcon it. It's like, nah, it was just like some psychic shit where he wanted you to see what you feared. And the psychic guy's like, no, I've been in telepathic communication. That's why I'm not upset about this. I'm like, you missed a great opportunity to make this really dark. And show that Claw was like a really disgusting organization.
It makes sense though, like, Claw originally, they're a psychic organization that wants to take over the world and be like, Espers are superior, right?
Except Claw is
made of, I'll get you, Gadget. But we're talking about
Inspector
Dr.
Gadget
Claw?
Beforehand.
Yeah, was his name Dr. Claw?
Dr. Claw, yeah, and I think the organization was called Claw too.
It was called Claw.
We're old as fuck talking about Inspector Gadget. People even do the people who listen to this even know who Inspector Gadget is? Go Gadget and finger.
Go Gadget finger.
There you go. No, but so the character, obviously Claw didn't want to kill the kids because they know that natural espers are stronger than man-made. So Claw is all man-made espers.
Yeah.
Like they go through some like brutal torture to like awaken esper powers.
Tank bred espers.
What?
Tank bred.
So that makes sense that why they wouldn't want to kill any of the natural born espers. Even though the natural born espers were super weak compared to like the manufactured espers, it's a just well-known fact that natural espers are just stronger. So if you took a natural esper and then you tried to like influence them to get stronger in esper powers, obviously they'd be tenfold stronger than man-made ones. So obviously they wouldn't kill the kid. I knew that from the get-go because I was just like, one, they took the kid that's psychic and can talk to each other telepathically, so they're gonna know if it's fake. And two, why would they kill each other? Why would they kill the kids that they abducted that they want to use to like make more espers, make powerful espers to brainwash and work for the company? That it didn't make sense to kill them.
No, I guess yeah, you make a good point. I think if they're gonna use the kids to make more powerful like artificial espers, then I could have accepted them killing them to take their DNA or something like that. I don't know. It seemed like it was a good opportunity to make them like a really evil organization.
I mean, yeah, but I think all that Claw wanted to do was scare the kids and then brainwash them into working for Claw, because since they are natural espers, they can make them stronger, and obviously having natural espers is going to be the strongest versus manufactured not natural espers.
Well, and they do mention that one of the gourd face guy, his like power is that he can show people what they fear.
Yeah, the hallucination guy, the hypnosis guy.
Yeah, he shows them like hallucinations or like hypnotic suggestions of things that they fear to like get them in line, which I guess, yeah, in that context, I guess it makes sense. I wish that they had kind of gone full send with the whole evil organization thing.
I mean, one doesn't really do dark stuff like that. I mean, kind of. Do you guys read the One Punch manga?
No.
I read it. I'm like 2 or 3 chapters behind, but yeah, I read it.
You know the part where Garo rips out the heart and gives it to Saitama?
Oh, damn.
Bro,
that was so dark.
That was
That was crazy.
Damn,
They've
can we
changed
get that
the story from so one has a web comic of his original One Punch Man, and then there's the remade one with like the beautiful art from
God bless Murata.
Sensei, yeah.
Yes.
And so they've changed the story, and one was okay with changing the story with how like the remake one with Murata is going for, but there is a super dark part of that. So I feel like one could do it, but the thing is, even at that dark part in One Punch Man, he still retcons it, and everything goes back to normal. So I feel like for one, his style of writing and like with the comedy and stuff, it just doesn't coincide very well if you wanted to make it super dark. That's my thing, and I think that it makes sense because it's a shonen. It's not a seinen. It's a shonen.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like you're watching Ava.
True, but at least, I mean, even in some shonen, they're not afraid to kill characters. Like Naruto, for example.
Well, I mean, in Naruto and in One Piece, like the deaths are very impactful, which is why they take forever to happen. They're very
everything in One Piece takes forever to happen, John.
Look, we're not gonna get into this.
No, but like, and I've talked about this before. Like, death should be used to make a statement. It shouldn't just be willy nilly. And I understand that there's shows like Akame Got Killed, for example, where it's like there's literally death in every episode.
Yeah, death is part of the story.
Yeah, and I'm just like, that's just stupid. I hate it. Same thing for like Attack on Titan, like the constant deaths of like characters that we don't care about left and right. And I'm like, who cares about that? No one cares about that. But when you start killing off main characters and stuff, it's different. But you know, it's definitely a different style of storytelling. I just don't think Mob Psycho 101 is the type of guy to do that.
Yeah, you know what? Fair enough. And like you say, it is more of a, at least stylistically, it's more like a stereotypical shonen than it is a seinen. So yeah. So I'm trying to think. So the fights. Let's talk about some of the fights, because some of the fights that we do see, they are few and far between, especially in the first 6 or 7 episodes. But one fight that I do really like is the one where we kind of talked about it before. The first fight with Dimple when he's still like leading the cult, because it's almost entirely fought with words, not fists.
I mean, it looks really cool. I think obviously the best fight was the last fight, and it's one where Mob doesn't even fight. Because he has Reagan fight, and it's so hilarious. The one where
Reagan does the whole fucking Thanos thing. It's like, fine, I'll do it myself.
Oh man, the fights are very few and far between, but I do like the fight sequences because it's like watching the One Punch Man fights. It's flashy. There's a lot of effects, things being blown up and shit.
The animation budget gets kicked up to 11.
Yeah. Oh my god, the animation budget goes nuts during the fights, which I love.
Not to mention, I think, like, with it being so far and in between is one of its strengths. Like, it doesn't happen often, but when it does happen, you set up, you pay attention, because holy shit. As you said, the animation budget is put to 11, and they go crazy. And goddamn does it show.
Yeah, like, it's not just mindless freaking Dragon Ball Z style fighting, where it's just like, everything is a tournament arc, everything is about fighting. So it makes sense. It's stylistically, they've chosen to make it like that, because it's a shonen about, again, it's about Mob. It's about him growing as a person, about him finding his place in the world, which is a great overall story. I really enjoy Mob Psycho.
Yeah, I just wish it's a shame that in the first season, you get. I feel like a lot of the other characters kind of outshine Mob a little bit. Specifically Reagan and I think in the latter half of the of this season, Dimple also kind of outshines him a little bit, just with how over the top he is about things. And the fact that when he comes back after his exorcism, he has this air of like, you don't know if he's actually there to help Mob or if he's just a villain cleverly using him like Reagan is using him.
No,
like,
Dimple was 100% transparent with that because he says, "Oh, I'm just here to be friendly. I've seen the way of the light," and then he's like, in inner thought mode, "You fool! I'll regain my power and then I'll take over the world." Then he goes back, hey Mob, what's up, man?
yeah, you say that, but I get this feeling that as the story goes on, assuming he does come back in other seasons, which I think he does, I feel like maybe he's going to just become a trickster kind of character where he's mostly good, but I don't know. I get that sense.
I don't know, man. Everything that Dimple does in season 1 has never been good or of pure intention.
It's been self-serving.
It's always been something
Extremely.
that benefits him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that tracks. That's how his character is. Like, that's why he started the Smile Cult. He's trying to become more powerful. What's more surprising is, like, when he gets caught by the Esper and gets put into the poison jar.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I was like, Dimple's going to eat all the monsters in there. But it's like, it didn't make sense because it's like, well, the monsters that he was fighting are one of the stronger ones. And there's a bunch of them in the poison jar. But he couldn't fight those monsters in his current form. How did he eat them all? So that was one of the things I was like, that doesn't really track. But I mean, obviously he was gonna be the one who eats all the monsters and becomes the strongest poison.
The Shiro T poison.
Shiro T poison.
Shiro T poison. I already mentioned it. The fight in the alleyway, I also really like with Mob's brother. When his powers finally awaken. I really like that. But then we kind of mentioned it before too, the final fight during the whole prison break. I will say, I think that prison break went on for like an episode too long.
You think so?
Really?
I think so, yeah. I think by the end of it, I'm like, okay, this fight is really, really cool, but I feel like it could have been done in one less episode, and I would have liked it a little better.
I have to disagree. I think the pacing on that was just right.
Oh, my problem isn't the pacing. My problem is I just feel like we were there too long.
Isn't that the pacing?
No. I just feel like we were in the same setting for too long.
Oh, the setting itself. No,
Yeah,
I have to disagree, Alex. I really have to disagree.
I think that the pacing was fine, and I didn't mind it being in the setting. But I gotta say, out of that whole prison break thing, my favorite part was the fact that Reagan shows up and then like he doesn't even try to bullshit his way into things. People just for some reason misunderstand what he's saying, and they think he's like the big boss.
He became the boss of Claw.
I mean, what is that? What is that thing people say? It's like all you really need is to be dressed nice and have a clipboard, and you can get into most places you're not supposed to be.
Wear a high vis a
high visibility jacket.
Yeah.
High vis jacket with a clipboard and a ladder, bro. You can get anywhere.
Literally anywhere.
Yeah, and he kind of does that. He's not even bullshitting, like you say. He's just answering the questions honestly, and the people are misinterpreting his answers.
Oh man, but
Reagan continues to be Reagan and just bullshits his way to the top somehow.
I love it. I love
amazing.
it so much. And then at the very end, like Mob's like about to he hits 100, right? But then Reagan like hits him in the face, like, Mob, I told you, it's okay to run away sometimes. Leave it to the adults. So then like all that power that Mob has gets transferred into Reagan. So then Reagan fights the fucking final psychics.
Bro, when that happened, I was fucking crying. I was like, yo, let's fucking go. Reagan might be a shitty scam artist, but he is a responsible adult when it comes to kids.
Yeah, because he's like, Mob, I told you don't use your psychic powers to fight these people. And then when Reagan goes and fights the other psychics, it's not like he just like beats them up. He literally beats them with words. He drags them back to reality. Like the guy, there's like the Esper guy who puts curses on things and they become powerful weapons. Right?
Yeah.
He's got a plastic toy sword that becomes a real sword that can kill because he's cursed it so many times. And like Reagan grabs it and he's like, "Stop playing with toys. You need to face reality. Get a job.
Get a job, nerd."
Oh god.
And it's like that. Like no other like. If anyone else, any other psychic attacked them with, like, you know, stereotypical whatever attack, like, they'll just fight back. But when Reagan just fights with his words, that's the real impact. Calling them out on their bullshit and just saying, yo, you need to get back to reality stop bullshitting around. And everyone's like, oh fuck.
I like
fuck.
when they had the reveal of who's in like the black suit, like the fucking radiation suit, and everyone's like, I thought that was a girl.
Yeah, I know, me too.
Everyone's like, what? That's what that person looks like? I thought that was a girl.
And it's like, but then how it ends though with like that kid who came from HQ. It's like it's the son of the actual leader.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, there's no one in Division 7 that's worth grabbing. So there's like that little bit of like, oh, here's gonna be a part 2 if you're interested.
I thought so when that reveal happens, I actually thought that character was gonna be revealed to be the actual leader. And like they were gonna be like a shapeshifter of some kind, and they were gonna like shapeshift into some kind of adult or some monster or something, and that was gonna be revealed to be the actual leader of Claw in disguise. But I was actually pleasantly surprised by what we got. It's like, okay, so it's the guy's son who he sends them there almost to infiltrate and do like reconnaissance within his own organization. So that's actually a nice little setup.
Like a welfare check on his own company.
Yeah.
Be like, all right, so I've let this division run by themselves. Is there anyone worth like bringing to HQ? Are they worth any value? And it's just like,
is something that I think actual organizations do.
Yeah, it's like Secret Boss.
Yeah, or it's like what the secret shoppers they do at retail stores.
Yeah, so I like that, but then it's just like, was that enough to make me want to watch season 2? Not really.
For me, that specifically wasn't. What was seeing Mob grow as a character and some of the people around him, especially his brother. I really like the story arc with his brother.
Oh yeah, I love that. And towards the end, it's like they go back to dinner and Mob.
It's that callback to the first episode.
Yeah, but then this time, his brother grabs the spoon instead of giving him a new one and bending it. He fixes it with his own Esper powers, and it's like, oh, look at that! Like Mob and Ritsu are actually getting along like proper brothers now, which is great. I love that. I love seeing like happy Mob. The fact that he actually can express himself, the fact that his brother is no longer living in fear. It feels like there's more of the story, and I'm just like, I care a lot more about this now.
I love
at the beginning.
I love the look that his parents give him when both of them when that happens. Like, this is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them. But yeah, that's the reason that at the end of the season, I was like, you know what, this was okay. But I feel like if I keep up, some of these characters are going to get developed and grow even more, and that might be really fun to watch. And now that Reagan actually has powers, what is he going to do with them?
Well, he doesn't have powers. Like, so Dimple, Mob passes out from running in the fitness club, so then he sends Dimple to go talk to Reagan. And then Reagan's just like, normal day reading his newspaper. He's like, so you're here to tell me that Mob's not going to show up for part-time job? And then Dimple's like, hey, so you can see me now. Does that mean you have powers? And he's like, no, absolutely not. I don't have any powers. I can just see you now for some reason. He just goes about his day like nothing.
Yeah.
Like everything's normal.
Again,
like,
I said it before.
What the fuck, Reagan?
I said it before. It hand waves a lot.
It does hand wave a lot. You have to pick up on a lot of it, and like a little bit of it is left up to interpretation. But like stuff like that, before like Reagan had zero powers, nothing. But after that, it's very obvious Reagan has at least awakened his mind's eye, so to speak, at the very least.
Yeah, but I just love Reagan's like, I don't care attitude, like laissez-faire attitude, because it's just like it's remnants of Saitama. That's why I like Reagan so much.
It's like, oh, I'm doing this con, it didn't work out. Oh well. On to the next con.
The reason it should have worked because the ghost that was on your shoulder, it's gone now. Can I offer you a 2-for-1 discount?
You know, you know, like his excuses always reminded me of. You ever heard of the guy called the Amazing Randy?
I don't think so. No.
He was a guy, I think he's dead now, but he was a guy who, on like very publicly, both on TV and when the internet came around, like online, would expose psychics and like espers, self-proclaimed.
Is this the guy who like, I'll pay you $1 million if you can prove to me that your psychic powers are real?
Yes.
Is that guy?
Yes.
Okay. I do know about that.
Yeah, and that's what he reminds me of, Reagan. All the psychics who would like go up against the amazing Randy, and like they come up with all these excuses as to why their psychic powers didn't work.
Oh, you see,
It's the studio lighting. It's the studio lighting.
Mercury's in retrograde. Venus is not aligned. The clouds and interferons.
Yeah. That's what Reagan reminds me of. All the psychics that went on with the amazing Randy and couldn't do this shit. Also, I really liked. I mentioned I really loved the Mob's brothers story. Like he starts out like the thing with the student council, right? That was so fun to watch because he starts out as this unwilling participant in this, I guess, sham to shame Onigawara, the guy that looks like Josuke from Part 4 of JoJo.
Yeah, the delinquent.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he just becomes an absolute piece of shit, like because of peer pressure, and then he realizes, wait, this is fucking wrong, and he just like outs the guy who's making him do this.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like, so I really like that storytelling about like, because Ritsu is just like the vice president. He's under a lot of pressure of like, this is who my older brother is. I'm scared of him because he's so successful. He has things I don't have. Like, I'm doing the bare minimum, or I'm doing the most that I can do to just survive. And like, it coincides their story, right? The vice president with his brother and Ritsu and his brother. And that's why like Ritsu goes along with the vice president in the beginning. It was like, he knows that what he's doing is wrong, but this is what they do to relieve stress, which is something that happens. You know, you take out you got to vent your anger somehow. You got to vent your frustration somehow. So it shows a really good growth of Ritsu as a character, because it's like, he's fed up with not having psychic powers. He's fed up with having to tiptoe on eggshells around his older brother because he's so scared of his older brother, of his psychic powers, because he's like, what if my older brother goes psycho again and like kills everyone?
Yeah,
like you don't know, because Mob can't control his feelings. So it's really good. I like that story beat, and that's why I'm like, the latter half of the season is so good, because it has these story beats that I actually do care about. Because you gotta, the first 6 episodes, it doesn't have anything story beat wise other than
lots of comedy and slice of life stuff.
Lots of comedy, yeah, like slice of life comedy,
like the fucking telepathy club. That was great.
Yeah. So like, you've got the Dimple fight, which is like,
it's good.
Just the Dimple fight, it's good. I like it. I like Dimple as a character, but like, that was kind of the highlight, and that's towards the end of the first 6 episodes. But before that, it's like, there's the ghost that haunts the girls' school.
Yeah,
it's like, I wasn't a popular guy. I was a loser just like you.
Fucking Moaning Myrtle.
Yeah, Moaning Myrtle. Which is actually, that was actually a very good point about Mob. Like, there's a lot of character development in there for Mob, but you don't know it yet. You don't know it yet that ghost actually inspired Mob to do something with his life. So it's like, it's small things. You have to really pay attention. And that's kind of the problem. Like, when you go into the first half of it, if you don't pay attention, because I'm gonna be honest here, when I watch stuff, I don't really pay attention. I'm usually doing something else, like playing a game or editing a video. I know I don't give my full attention to what I'm watching, because unless it's something like Monogatari or something
you have to pay attention, or you're not going to understand anything.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to give it my focus. That's just how it is. I put things on to watch, and I watch passively, right? And that's one of the bad things about Mob Psycho. It's not a passive watch. You got to kind of pay attention if you really care about it.
I would say that's one of the good things about it also. You actually have to pay attention.
It rewards you for paying attention.
Yeah, it rewards you.
I mean, because you're right. There is a story to be had here. There's a lot of development. It's actually a very good shonen, all things considered. It's not a stereotypical shonen, which is, it's great. I don't, as much as I love Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball GT and all works of Kira Toriyama, I can't
Papa
say
bless.
that. Papa bless. I can't say that I want to see more Dragon Ball type shows out there. Like,
shonen is a very saturated medium.
Yeah, and
or a genre rather.
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
There are some that are just really excellent, and I think Mob Psycho is really excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not so obviously I've only seen the first season so far, so I'm not sold on it being great, but I do think it is good. At least the first season so far. I am hoping in both the second and the third season we get some more world building, because the world that has been built so far, like it's there, but I don't feel like I feel like it's a very isolated feeling world. I don't feel like there's a larger world outside of like the actual setting. So I'd like to see more of that be developed. I hope it is. I'm looking forward to seeing these characters further developed, as you guys have both told me that is definitely coming in season 2, especially with Mob.
The most interesting thing about the world right now is the fact that everyone knows that psychic powers exist.
And
everyone
Claw.
knows that
Claw is
Espers are
interesting,
real, right? Like Mob uses his powers to like float stuff, and they're like, "Wow, Mob, you're cool." And then his crush is like, "Oh, I've already seen you do that trick like 10th time, so I don't care anymore." It's like that meme with Sheen from Jimmy Neutron. Sheen, this is the 7th week you've brought Ultra Lord. And it's like, it's funny because
Mappa, this is the 7th season in a row you've shown us the final season of Attack on Titan.
Oh my God, shut up. Shut the fuck up. It's the same joke.
Yep.
God, get new material.
Nope. It's a great joke. It's a great joke.
It's not. It's really not.
Actually, the joke has just become Attack on Titan. That's the whole joke.
I mean, that's true. But Jesus Christ, chill.
But my point is, the world is interesting in the fact that they know that Espers exist, but if for some reason no one cares. They're like, ghosts and Espers? Yeah, that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Why are they brushing it off like it's nothing? Like
it's like the opposite.
Crazy.
It's the opposite of something like MHA, where like superpowers exist, and everyone's first thought was, how do we monetize this shit?
Yeah.
Like it's literally the exact opposite of how like superpowers or like shonen powers are done in MHA. And I thought that is one actually interesting aspect about it, where obviously everyone is very aware that this stuff exists, but so few people seem to give a shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Claw is also interesting. I hope they get developed a little more.
There is.
With the tease at the end of the season, I have to assume that's where it's going.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it. That's all I can say.
And I just want to watch Mob grow more. I really liked watching him grow in this first season. I hope we get to see more of the kinship between him and his brother too, because that's a really cool family dynamic that I like to see. Yeah, it's
honestly sweet.
I just want to see Ritsu become as strong as Mob, to be honest.
I mean, let's be honest, he already has a stronger haircut. Mob, it's literally a bowl cut. It is a bowl cut. I'll tell you what, it's such a simple haircut that when myself and Ida were working on the thumbnail for our award show, we actually had a PNG of Mob that had the top of his head cut off, and Ida just put like a little circle over top and just colored it black, and it looked perfect. It looked perfect.
That is what you would call a bowl cut.
Yeah, that's unless you guys have anything else, that's Mob Psycho 100's first season. I think we kind of covered everything. Pickle
overall,
hair.
If you haven't watched it yet, what the hell are you doing? Like, go watch it. It's amazing.
Definitely worth watching.
Not a long watch.
Let me ask you this. Obviously, you guys have seen the second and the third season, so you have more to compare it to than I do. But out of 10, what would you give this season by itself, like in a vacuum?
By
7.
itself,
So what I'd give it to a 7, maybe a 6.5, high 6.
7, yeah.
Okay,
like
Yeah,
it's
7.
not bad.
no, it's not great, but it's not bad either. It's good. It's not average. It's just slightly above average.
It's above average, definitely.
Yeah. I think it's got some things to offer, and I mean, but the thing is, standalone in a vacuum, yeah, like a 7. Overall, if I would combine all 3 of them, it'd probably be a higher score.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely get to that in the second and third season spoiler cast that we will be doing. Other than that, that's it. That's Mob Psycho 100 season 1. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to the second and third season. Coming very, very soon. So, thank you everyone out there for
Hopefully.
dropping in to listen to us rant about this. I hope you all enjoy this little Spoilercast series that we're going to be doing for Mob Psycho 100 now that the anime is over. Check the description below where you can find links to Anime Club After Dark on Twitch, on social media, and on Discord. Check out our merch store. Any purchases you make there do really, really help us out. With that, I have been your host, Alex, and I will see you guys next time. Say goodnight, guys!
Good night.
Mob.
What do you want?
John.
What?
John.
What?
Their heads were a pepper and a broccoli. Funniest shit I've ever seen. Is it couth to make Rick and Morty jokes now? I don't know.
No,
I don't
it's
think so.
it's still funny.
I just don't understand. Why is it a pepper and a... No one says anything!
Don't worry about it. Just keep watching. Hand wave.